Today, our topic is the Stoic response to stress. Stress is something everyone feels, but not everyone knows how to handle it well. Life throws problems at us, and sometimes it feels like we are carrying a heavy weight on our shoulders. But there is a way to deal with stress that comes from ancient wisdom, and it is called Stoicism. Stoicism is a philosophy that teaches us how to stay calm and strong, no matter what happens around us. It was practiced by great thinkers like Epictetus, Seneca, and Marcus Aurelius. They believe that we cannot control everything in life, but we can control how we respond to it. This is the key idea of Stoicism, and it can help us deal with stress in a better way. First, let's talk about what stress really is. Stress is our body's reaction to something that feels challenging or overwhelming. It could be work, relationships, money problems, or even small things like being stuck in traffic. When we feel stressed, our body reacts as if we are in danger. Our heart beats faster, our muscles tense, and our mind starts racing. This is called the fight or flight response, and it is natural. But the problem is that modern life gives us too many small stresses, and our body reacts the same way to all of them. Over time, this can make us feel tired, anxious, and even sick. Stoicism teaches us that while we cannot always change the things that stress us, we can change how we think about them. One of the main ideas of Stoicism is the difference between what we can control and what we cannot control. Imagine you are in a boat on a river. You cannot control the direction of the river or the wind, but you can control how you row the boat. In life, many things are like the river and the wind. We cannot control the weather, what other people say or do, or even some of the events that happen to us. But we can control how we react to these things. This is where Stoicism helps us. Instead of worrying about things we cannot change, we focus on what we can do. This shift in thinking can reduce stress because it helps us stop fighting against things that are out of our hands. Another important Stoic idea is to accept what happens without complaining. This does not mean we should not try to improve our lives or solve problems. It means we should not waste energy being upset about things we cannot change. For example, if it rains on the day of your picnic, you can either be angry and complain, or you can accept it and find another way to enjoy the day. Stoics believe that accepting reality is the first step to finding peace. When we stop resisting what we cannot change, we feel less stressed and more in control of our emotions. Stoicism also teaches us to focus on the present moment. Many of our stresses come from worrying about the future or regretting the past. We think about what might go wrong tomorrow or what we should have done differently yesterday. But the truth is, the only moment we really have is now. The past is gone, and the future is not here yet. By focusing on the present, we can reduce stress and find more joy in life. For example, if you are working on a project, instead of worrying about the deadline or what your boss will think, focus on doing your best right now. This way, you can work more calmly and effectively. Another Stoic practice is to remind ourselves that things are not as bad as they seem. When we are stressed, our mind often makes problems look bigger than they are. A small mistake at work can feel like a disaster, or a criticism from a friend can feel like a personal attack. Stoics call this catastrophizing, and it makes stress worse. To fight this, we can ask ourselves, is this really as bad as I think? Will it matter in a week, a month, or a year? Often, the answer is no. By putting things in perspective, we can see that many of our worries are not as serious as they feel in the moment. Stoicism also teaches us to be grateful for what we have. When we focus on what is missing or what is wrong, we feel more stressed. But when we take time to appreciate the good things in our lives, we feel calmer and happier. For example, instead of stressing about not having enough money, we can be grateful for the food we have, the roof over our heads, and the people who care about us. Gratitude does not solve all our problems, but it helps us see that life is not all bad. It reminds us that even in difficult times, there is still good to be found. Another Stoic tool for dealing with stress is to practice self-discipline. This means doing what is right, even when it is hard. For example, if you are stressed about a big project, instead of avoiding it, you can break it into small steps and start working on it. Self-discipline helps us take action instead of feeling stuck. It also builds our confidence, because we see that we can handle challenges. Stoics believe that by practicing self-discipline, we become stronger and more resilient. Over time, this makes us better at dealing with stress. Stoicism also teaches us to prepare for difficulties. This might sound strange, but it is a powerful way to reduce stress. Stoics practice something called premeditatio malorum, which means thinking about the worst that could happen. For example, if you are worried about losing your job, you can imagine what you would do if it happened. Would you look for a new job? Cut back on expenses? By thinking about these things in advance, you feel more prepared and less afraid. This does not mean you should always expect the worst, but it helps you feel ready for whatever comes your way. Finally, Stoicism reminds us that we are part of something bigger. We are not alone in our struggles. Everyone faces challenges, and everyone feels stress at times. When we remember this, we feel less isolated and more connected to others. We can also learn from how others handle stress. For example, if a friend stays calm in a difficult situation, we can ask ourselves what they are doing differently and try to learn from them. Stoics believe that by helping others and learning from them, we can grow stronger and wiser. In conclusion, the Stoic response to stress is about accepting what we cannot change, focusing on what we can control, and finding peace in the present moment. It is about seeing problems clearly, practicing gratitude, and building resilience through self-discipline. It is also about preparing for difficulties and remembering that we are not alone. Stoicism does not promise a life without stress, but it gives us tools to handle stress in a better way. By practicing these ideas, we can live with more calm, strength, and joy, even in difficult times. Life will always have challenges, but with Stoic wisdom, we can face them with courage and peace.